Imagine spending 14 months training, 8 weeks camp, public appearances, promos, hype videos. You step into the cage, the title's on your waist, the cameras roll, then bam, 4 minutes later, you're walking off bewildered. That's exactly what happened at UFC 321. I'm Reggie Cross, and on this edition of Behind the Lines, we're dissecting the controversy that stole the spotlight, the eye poke that turned Tom Aspinall's first heavyweight title defense into a no contest, and how this isn't just about one bad moment, it's about the heavyweight division's narrative being hijacked. So strap in, because we're going deep behind the lines. Let's back up. To understand how badly this ending stings, you've got to see how we got here. Tom Aspinall enters this fight as the newly undoubted heavyweight champ. Why newly undoubted? Because when Jon Jones announced his retirement in June 2025, Aspinall was elevated from interim to undisputed champion. He's tall, heavy-hitting, his pace is ridiculous for a big man. Every one of his fights has flashed future face of the division, and his opponent inside Abu Dhabi, Ciryl Gane. Gane is far from a placeholder. Former interim champ, slick motion, excellent cardio for a heavyweight, and always dangerous. He's fought at the top, he's fought the best. So when you book Aspinall versus Gane, you've got a legit title fight. And that's exactly how the fight was billed. Big lights, first defense, the world watching. But let's be honest, sometimes the big title fight billing comes with a certain expectation. You're going to get war, finish, maybe 2-round knockout, big post-fight hugs. Not 4 minutes of agony and silence. But hey, life happens. Now, you can't overemphasize this part. This fight mattered. For Aspinall, it was his chance to cement his legacy. For Gane, it was a shot at redemption. The stage was built, the tension was real. Round one opens, and right out of the gate, the dynamics are interesting. Gane's jab and leg kick combinations are making noise. He opens Aspinall's nose, we're already seeing damage. Aspinall is pressing forward, trying to impose his power, his threat looming. For a moment, you sense the narrative shift. Gane might be the one dictating. And then, at 4 minutes and 35 seconds into the round, boom. The moment you'll see replayed for years. Gane throws what looks like a kick. Aspinall drops his guard to block. Gane's left hand drifts, and his fingers connect. Both eyes knuckle deep. That's not a fuzzy contact accident. That's a brutal visual. Aspinall immediately signals he can't see. The ref, Jason Herzog, halts. The doctor goes in. The camp begins. The buzzer of unfinished business sounds. The fight is ruled a no contest. Just like that, 4 minutes, one fist length of error, and we're done. The roar of the crowd flips into confusion. The cameras linger on a champ who trained to finish, not flinch. The challenger who looked to be gaining momentum. And the fans, well, they paid good money to watch a fight and instead got a what if. In the immediate aftermath, Aspinall's words were raw.
What am I supposed to do about it? I didn't do I can't see.
And Gane, ever classy, apologized. I'm very sorry about that. I'm sorry for Aspinall, sorry for myself. This wasn't dirty. Most analysts believe it wasn't intentional. The thing is, that doesn't matter to the optics. The optics are awful, and the story, it's badly damaged. Hey folks, if you're enjoying this breakdown and feeling the vibe, smash that like button, hit that subscribe, because trust me, the fallout here is just beginning. We've got rematches, we've got division resets, and I don't want you to miss any of it. All right, let's keep going. Here's where the story gets interesting. Not just for Aspinall or Gane, but for the heavyweight division as a whole. Aspinall retains the belt, yes. But under the rules, this doesn't go down as a successful title defense. It's officially a no contest. So rather than champion walks away dominant, the record says champion's title defense derailed. That matters. Legacy matters. Belts matter. Narrative matters. The heavyweight division had a resurgence. New champ, perhaps a dangerous contender, but otherwise a lackluster division. It is a division that needs excitement. Gane was building momentum in round one. Several veterans even questioned whether Aspinall could have continued. Here's what they said. You've got to fight with one eye at times, Chael Sonnen, implying he could have taken the hit and fought on. Maybe. The question hangs. And that's bad for a champion, because now you have what ifs. Did he quit? Was he outmatched? Did the foul ruin him? Or was Tom just getting started on what would have been another dominant win and a defining moment of his newly undisputed career as heavyweight champion? All the questions that a champion doesn't want floating, which means the division, it slows. Rebooking fights, fixing storylines. Smaller narrative bumps suddenly loom large. For Aspinall, the man trains for finish, for legacy. Instead, he walks away with a title, but no finish, no statement, and a stop caused by a freak accident. His toughness is now under commentary. Some say, hey, a finger in the eye is brutal. He did what he could. Others whisper, would he have fought on if things went differently? On that note, fellow fighter Sean O'Malley defended him. It's insane to question Tom's toughness. For Gane, arguably the trajectory he wanted. He was doing well early. Then he's the one who caused the foul, even accidentally. He apologized, was visibly upset. But now his momentum pivots from contender building to a banger of a fight into guy whose shot ended weirdly. Again, what ifs? For the UFC, when your main event ends in a no contest due to foul rather than finish, big problem. Card sells on closure, on payoff. The fans feel cheated. The narrative sellers, promos, TV, social media, lose credibility. The next booking has to fix that perception. In other words, you don't just fix a fight, you repair a moment. Let's talk possibilities. Where do we go from here? Yes, it's almost inevitable. Aspinall versus Gane 2. The UFC has zero choice. They must rebook to settle the unfinished business. There's no good story that says, fill up the belt with uncertainty. Expect the rematch will be high stakes, bigger pay-per-view gate, much better supporting fights on the card, heavier promotion, maybe a different location, because they can't leave the division flat. And if I were in Gane's corner, I'd say, look, I was winning. The moment got taken from us. Let's finish this now. If I were in Aspinall's corner, we're not leaving this one like this. He thought he was winning. Let's prove him wrong. Let's dominate. Either way, the narrative will be redemption or redemption postponed. The eye injury is physical, but the scar is mental. Being blind in the cage for a moment, that jolts confidence. He'll need to display he's back 100% because if there's any hesitation next fight, critics will pounce. I expect his training camp to emphasize hand-eye drills, vision recovery, maybe a press tour about how he's back and better. Because if he goes into fight 2 licking wounds, the what-if tag sticks longer. Gane has to use the we were rolling narrative. The accident happened, yes, but I'd promote I was beating the champ. I will beat him again. He could also position, I'm the one who finished this story. You guys just watched the smallest act. If he plays that right, he keeps legitimacy. If he shrugs it off, he risks becoming that guy versus the champ who got stopped weirdly. Here's the big picture. This one incident has forced a reset. Instead of new champ, Aspinall dominates division, we get champion's first fight ends in an unfortunate way. Rematch pending, division paused. That delay may cost momentum, but it also offers story depth. If they build the rematch right, they can turn this into a saga. And here's where things get spicy. With the division paused, other players smell opportunity. Step aside, watchers, rewind the board. And we haven't even talked about this yet, Alex Pereira. His social media post to Jon Jones after the no contest read, "Let's make the heavyweight division great again." Pereira called out Jones for a future heavyweight clash, directly referencing the post-fight chaos as opportunity. And Jones, he accepted the challenge. White House fight talk, promotional hype. The alternative narrative to Aspinall Gane now, the marquee super fight. So, while Aspinall and Gane rebuild, the division might leapfrog them with the big spectacle. That adds pressure to both men. Finish the rematch clean or risk being bypassed. Here's the honest truth about UFC 321. It didn't disappoint because someone lost. It disappointed because the story stopped mid-sentence. We just settled into a competitive rhythm. Ciryl Gane's read was coming online. Jab finding the nose, low kicks starting to tax the lead leg, footwork setting little traps at range. Tom Aspinall, the bigger puncher, was doing what champions do. Walking him down, testing reactions, threatening the moment that flips around. You could feel the fight taking shape. Not a blowout, not a mismatch, but a chess match with C4 under the board. Then a hand drifted. A fingertip became the referee, and the referee said, "No contest." Counterfactuals are tough. They always are. But part of processing this is naming the roads we didn't take. If we get 2 more rounds, we learn whether Gane's clean entries and exits could keep Tom honest long enough to bank frames. If we get 1 more clean exchange, we learn if Aspinall's pressure would eventually crack the pocket and make Gane stand still just long enough to feel heavyweight power. If we get 5 more minutes, we stop arguing about was he building momentum and actually see it cash out or not. Instead of answers, we're arguing premises. Instead of closure, we're stuck with the ugliest punctuation mark in sports, a question mark. And that's why the could he have continued debate hits so hard. When a champion says he can't see, that's not gamesmanship, that's survival instinct. The doctor's job is to measure risk, not bravery. But fans don't grade medical charts. They grade myth. And myths prefer warriors who limp forward into the blur. The clash is inevitable. Here's where I land. The take tells me Gane was settling into a good night's work. Aspinall was 1 read away from flipping the geometry, and both men deserve to let the equation resolve. We didn't get that. No moral of the story, just an unfinished one. And unfinished stories breed noise, doubt, hot takes, and the kind of second-guessing that sticks to a champion's resume like sap. Meanwhile, there's a shadow storyline forming outside the cage. Jon Jones watched the anticlimax and did what Jon Jones does, reframe the conversation around him. He poked at the quality of the main event, then doubled down on the idea of an Alex Pereira heavyweight super fight. Yes, the circus-level pitch about a White House card next summer. Whether you love it or hate it, that headline siphons oxygen from everyone else. While Aspinall and Gane are trying to close a chapter, Jones is already writing a different book jacket and asking the sport to read that instead. That's the cost of a no contest in a glamour division. When the cage won't deliver a conclusion, the megaphones do. All right, stools pulled up. Your turn in the corner. No hot takes, no caps lock dissertations, just you, the replay, and a little honesty. If you're Tom Aspinall, do you roll the dice and fight half blind for the belt, or do you trust the doctor and live to fight again, knowing the crowd's going to boo anyway? If you're Ciryl Gane, do you feel robbed or relieved, knowing momentum was finally bending your way? And if you're sitting in Dana's seat, do you rush the rematch or let the circus roll on with Jon Jones and Alex Pereira whispering about a White House super fight next summer? That's the crossroads right there. The champion's pause, the contender's what if, and the league's attention span already wandering towards spectacle. So tell me, who really owns the next move? Drop it in the comments. I'll pull the best takes for next week's rundown. Here's what sticks after the lights go down. One mistake ended a night that should have crowned a legacy. A fingertip rewrote a headline. For Aspinall, the belt stays, but the aura slips. He's got to win the rematch and win back the crowd. For Gane, the tape shows promise, not proof. He was doing well, but history only remembers finishes, and this one was far from a finish. And for the division, the silence left space for louder men. If the rematch doesn't land fast, the Jones-Pereira noise becomes the story. The truth is simple. The fight didn't end because someone broke. It ended because chaos showed up early. The only cure for chaos is closure. Book it, fight it, finish it. I'm Reggie Cross, and this is Behind the Lines. If you're feeling the vibe, hit that subscribe. And remember, hype fades, legacy don't. Peace.
745 with